The first mistake that students make is not having a structure in their answers. This will cause them to beat around the bush and write things that are not needed, or totally not writing the points that are needed. Take this question for example. Instead of just jumping in to start writing, practice spending a few seconds to think of how you will structure your answer. We could perhaps first list down the differences in the structures of the two substances, then go on to say how the presence of this particular part of threonine makes it more soluble in water versus how the absence of this same part in benzoic acid makes it less soluble in water. Having a structure will ensure that you are A. addressing every single demand within the question, and B. ensures that your answer will be phrased in a way that answers directly to the question. In this case, each point is written in a way that's always highlighting the differences between threonine and benzoic acid, which was what the question wants you to do: compare. This brings me to the second mistake that students make, which is not answering every single demand within the question. If you've looked through enough exam papers, you'll realize that there could be multiple questions within a question, like this one. There are 1, 2, and 3 demands in this question. I know it sounds pretty common sense and you may be thinking, of course must answer all the 3 points what? But unfortunately, common sense is not very common these days. I've seen this pattern of overlooking the demands of the question one too many times in my own students, which is why I must include it in today's video. And the third mistake that students make is not rereading the question. No, I'm not talking about reading the question, I'm talking about rereading the entire question again. I'm sure you will agree with me that the so-called harder questions are always those application questions with lots of information and weird looking compounds which you've never seen before. Which is precisely what makes it so painfully hard to apply the content that we've studied, right? But let's look at it this way. If I were to put you in a foreign country that speaks a foreign language and you cannot have your phone with you, you most likely won't be able to navigate your way around unless you are at least somewhat familiar with their language or culture, correct? Similarly, the only way to improve your chances of successfully connecting what you've studied in theory to the application question is to be as familiar with the foreign information in the question as possible. And this can only be done by constantly rereading the entire question. Because the more you reread, the more familiar or the less foreign the information in the question will be, which will help you to see the big picture. And you will want to correct this mistake ASAP, because if you don't, it may lead you to make mistake number 4, leaving blanks. I'm not talking about students leaving blanks because they blanked out or they were rushing for time. I'm talking about students who chose to give up without even trying. And guys, that is not okay. Not only will this train your brain to give up at the slightest difficulty or discomfort again, skipping questions and not persevering through will also destroy your morale for the entire paper, because you are not allowing yourself to be focused at all, and seeing the many blanks you've left will further annihilate your confidence. And the fifth mistake that JC chemistry students make is missing out keywords in their answers. I know it's frustrating, especially when you've studied only to find that your answer is still incomplete with carrots all over the place. If you're tired of this and want to stop missing out keywords in your answers, then stay tuned for my upcoming video where I will teach you how to put this to an end.